Victims of Stockholm Syndrome develop compassion and loyalty towards their captors. The condition follows psychologically traumatizing situations like hostage situations and kidnappings. People who develop this condition endure situations where they're forced to contemplate the reality of severe injury or death. In order for Stockholm Syndrome to develop, a victim must also perceive that her captors have shown occasional kindnesses. Being permitted to eat, not being punished for so-called transgression, and even being allowed to live are all considered benevolent to someone with Stockholm Syndrome. But it has been suggested that a victim believes, perhaps unconsciously, that forming an attachment to her captor maximizes her survival.
Today's topic is going to be called Christianity is an infection of Stockholm Syndrome. Today's topic is going to be called, I'm trying to figure out, Christianity is an infection of Stockholm Syndrome. Christianity is an infection of Stockholm Syndrome. All right? We're going to look up Stockholm because some of y'all don't know what that word means. Some of y'all don't know what that means. So we're going to go over that tonight, all right? Wikipedia is a public encyclopedia. It's easier to find information there. I had the definition there, so I'm going to use that. You can use other sources, but I want to use this more clearer. It's written clearer in this website here. So go to Stockholm Syndrome, Wikipedia. Yeah, Negro friendly, yeah. All right. It's going to be a calm night. Basic night, you know. Deep basics tonight. Nothing deep, nothing rough today. Stockholm Syndrome, or capture bonding, is a psychological phenomenon first described in 1973 in which hostages expressed empathy and sympathy and have positive feelings toward their captors, sometimes to the point of defending and identifying with the captors. That's a sickness in itself. Go down. These feelings are generally considered irrational in light of the danger or risk endured by the victims, who essentially mistake a lack of abuse from their captors for an act of kindness. That's the condition of our people today. That's the condition of our people today, where Esau gives us certain rights or privileges, and we take that as an act of kindness. It's Stockholm Syndrome. They call us nigger. They put us in the worst conditions possible, feed us the worst foods, give us satanic holidays, and we call it a kindness. Give us a day off to celebrate the devil, and we call that a kindness. That's a form of Stockholm Syndrome. Let's jump down a little bit more. Go down further. Go back up. Go back up. Right there. It says, let me get to the point. It said, I'll read it. Stockholm Syndrome can be seen as a form of traumatic bonding, which does not necessarily require a hostage scenario, but which describes strong emotional ties that develop between the two persons, where one person intermittently harasses, beats, threatens, abuses, or intimidates the other. So, and our people fall in love with those people that do that. Traumatic bonding. One commonly used hypothesis to explain the effect of Stockholm Syndrome is based on Freudian theory. It suggests that the bonding is the individual's response to trauma in becoming a victim. So what we do is we take the violence and the evil perpetrated against us and try to reason and make it rational in our minds and to deal with it. That's what we do. We create our own excuses for it. That's what we do. It says, you probably want to hear it. It says, identifying with the aggressor is one way that the ego or the mind defends itself. When a victim believes the same values as the aggressor, they cease to be perceived as a threat. So when you share the same beliefs as your aggressor or oppressor, they cease from being a threat to you. That's what Christianity was made for. That is Christianity right there. You want to say something, Deacon Outside? That's what Christianity is. It says, when a victim believes the same values as the aggressor, or you can replace that with oppressor, they cease to be perceived as a threat. You no longer see them as your enemy. You see them as your God. You see them as your prophets. You see them as your brother. You see them as your sister, as your friend, as your role models, as your superhero. That's what you see them as. When you fall into Christianity. Christianity was made specifically to keep Negroes in a docile and complacent, happy state of mind while they're aggressively abused, intimidated, murdered, hung. That keeps them in line. Those of you who've seen the movie Nat Turner can understand what I'm talking about. Because Nat Turner was raised by his oppressor to learn the Bible. And when you watch it, I'll just give you a piece. The guy says he can preach well. The guy said, I don't care if he can preach well. I just want him to say what should be said. He didn't care about him preaching well. Just say what needs to be said. I don't care about no nigger preacher. That's what he was saying. So that movie, if y'all ain't see it, I suggest you go see it. I want to see it again. That movie is craziness. It's excellent. All right? It was true. There were certain things that he left out. He couldn't fit it all in there. Lack of funding. You know, Jake, having Stockholm Syndrome, refused to help him. He asked Tyler Perry, Stockholm Syndrome. He asked numerous black actors and directors and many black brothers in status. No. One guy told him there's not enough good white people in the movie. Stockholm Syndrome. One guy said, yo, man, if you do this, it's going to bring you drama. Stockholm Syndrome. All right? So he saw it, being a celebrity, he saw Stockholm Syndrome firsthand. And he said you'd be amazed who I asked. It's on the Breakfast Club. You watch that on YouTube. His interview on the Breakfast Club. He tells you I asked whoever you thought I should ask, he said, I asked them. And they said no. Nate Parker. Nate Parker interviewed the Breakfast Club. Our people are sick. And Christianity is the infection. All right? Yeah.
Yeah, when you watch that movie, you learn where the Negro preacher came from.
Right.
Because it's what basically they're showing you all of the Negro preachers that they have out here, that's the origin of it. When you saw that, that's what I picked up. But as soon as I saw it, I said, this is where I already knew that anyway, but that's it. They show you that, they illustrate that clearly in the movie. Because they were taught, even the brother Nat in the movie, he said that he was told to teach certain parts of the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how the Negro preachers are. You mean to tell me that this Christianity stuff, they don't know about some of the stuff that we reading? Some of y'all are coming here and be like, damn, I never heard that before. And it's right there in the same Bible that they have. But they're told don't touch it. Not like that, but you know what I mean. Go ahead.
When you watch it, if you look at his fingers, most of his precepts is in the New Testament. Like the Bibles, you know how the Bibles turn a certain way? Like this is the Old Testament right here. You'll see most of the pages on this side, the old, because he's mostly in the new. When you watch it. Then he started fighting back. He went to them Old Testament. He said, okay, Joshua, Samuel. He said, for every scripture that they use to justify our oppression, we find one that justifies our freedom. I'm not going to give you all spoilers. I got to watch that thing, man. I'm getting chills just talking about it. Getting spirits. I'm getting angry just thinking about the movie. Gotta stay rated G in the class.
So now y'all know the reason why they was coming after the brother with all these allegations and all that. You see that because he was bringing out the truth. They already knew this.
When he did the movie, The Great Debaters, when he did the movie Beyond the Lights, the other movie he did a few movies. The Bus, the Birmingham thing, and he did something like that. He did a few movies. There was no mention of the allegations brought against him that he was removed from. It wasn't until he wanted to do this movie that all of a sudden his reputation became an issue. 12 Years a Slave got millions of dollars because he played the victim. Nat Turner got what, 7 mil? Because he played the leader, the savior, the hero. No, we don't like that. No. And his own brothers told him that. His own brothers. Nah, it's not enough good white folks in the movie. He said, whoever, I can't believe he said that. Whoever you thought I should ask, meaning his own brothers in status, like him, he said, I asked them. He had to beg. He spent $100,000. He stopped doing movies. He stopped acting, so the income is gone. Then he said, I spent $100,000 of my own pocket just to start it up. Then he had to run around. He flew. He spent $4,000 flying from one place to the next to be told no. You imagine you paying a round trip ticket, $4,000 to be told no to go back home?
If I'm not mistaken, he also used the equity in his home too. He did something with his mortgage. Something like that.
Yeah. So, all praises to the Most High using that brother to do that, moving his spirit to make that movie. All praises for that. Shout out, go out to him. Hopefully he gets his mind right and repents as well, because that was excellent. Very noble of him. Let's get Wisdom of Solomon 18 and verse 7. Because Christianity, this chapter and verse, these verses are the polar opposite of Christianity. The polar opposite. Christianity, as I brings out the complete opposite of the Bible. Wisdom of Solomon 18 and verse 7.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies.
Read again.
So of thy people.
So he said so of your people, thy people. Go ahead.
Was accepted.
Stop. Was accepted. Meaning we understood, we believed, we acknowledged during this deliverance from Egypt. Go ahead.
Both the salvation of the righteous.
We understood at this point the salvation of the righteous, meaning our people, Israel. Go ahead.
And destruction of the enemies.
That's what deliverance involves. The salvation of the victim and the destruction of the oppressor. That's what the Bible entails from beginning to the end. There is no enemies being saved along with enemies. That's not biblical. That's only found in Christianity. Where the white man tells you, yeah, nigga, I can be saved just like you. No, that's not biblical. That's evil as hell. That's Stockholm syndrome. And our people are trained through Christianity to embrace and to love our oppressor. No matter how hard he stabs us, how much he shoots us, how much he hangs us, how much he rapes us, love him anyway. He can be saved also. Both Jew and Greek. That's what you hear from these modern Christians today.
So let me ask a question, because a thought just went through my mind. If you don't mind, just be very quick. The scriptures say in Luke that we should be saved from what? From what? Our enemies. So that's what the salvation is about, right? Saving us from our enemies, correct? In the Lord's Prayer, where did it say the kingdom of heaven was going to be at? On earth. So what is the problem? We're going to be here on this earth. And right now, we have enemies that are with us. So if we're asking to be delivered from the hand of our enemies, how in the world is me and my enemy going to be looking for salvation? Standing beside each other. And I'm trying to get away from him. And we both talk about getting salvation. That makes no sense. And to come back on this earth and he be here again with us. What kind of salvation is that?
That's like the rapist being saved with the rape victim. You gonna come and save both of them? From what? Both of them being raped at the same time? No, he's raping her. Or in some cases, raping him. A lot of cases, raping him. But you gonna save both? No. But Christianity teaches save both. God hates the sin and loves the sinner. No, God hates both. But Christianity says the opposite. Because Christianity is against the Lord. It's against him entirely. Read verse 8 again. Verse 8.
For wherewith thou didst punish our adversaries.
So for wherewith you punished our enemies. Go ahead.
By the same thou didst glorify us.
So we receive our glory when our enemies are destroyed. When they receive destruction. That's deliverance. Not us being saved with them. That's not in the Bible. Read.
Whom thou hast called.
Jump down to verse 10.
But on the other side,
when Israel was walking through the Red Sea, the Egyptians, he's going into the history of the Egyptian deliverance during Passover. Go ahead.
but on the other side there sounded an ill-according cry of the enemies.
Because the enemies' children were dead. The Lord killed the firstborn of their children. So as we're leaving, our enemies, the Egyptians, are screaming and crying because their children are dead. Their baby boys and girls are destroyed. Go ahead.
And a lamentable noise was carried abroad for children that were bewailed.
That's what we heard. So as we're being delivered in happiness, the Egyptians is crying in sorrow and misery because their children were killed off. That's deliverance. We are to be happy and to enjoy that. It says to accept that. But Christianity teaches us to not accept it, to go against that. Go to 1 Maccabees 1. I'm going to show you that Christianity is Hellenism. It's modern Hellenism. Because America, remember, America historically is an extension of the Greco-Roman Empire. I'm going to say it again. America is an extension of the Greco-Roman Empire. Out of Rome comes America. That little horn in Daniel. That's America. So all the principles, the customs, the religions, the philosophies, the politics, all of that comes out of Greco-Roman philosophy. 1 Maccabees 1 verse 41.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws.
Go read again. I'm sorry. I wasn't there. Read again.
And everyone.
No, verse 41 again. I'm sorry.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Antiochus was a Greek king. Okay, this is Antiochus Epiphanes, or I believe the fourth. He states that all should be one people. What's that called today? One word. Democracy. You're going to find that the root of democracy is Christianity. That's why every president is sworn in on the Bible, because they uphold a false sense of Christian values. They don't really believe in the Bible. They just use it for show. See, we uphold the high laws. The Bible was considered back in the day the high law of the land. That's where the amendments come from. If you commit perjury, thou shalt not lie. If you commit homicide, thou shalt not kill. If you commit theft, thou shalt not steal. So the amendments come from the commandments. You understand? Read again.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
This is a decree of the Greeks that all should be one people, which goes into being Chinese American, Russian American, French American, African American, Latin American. That's all one people. One nation, under God, indivisible, with so-called liberty and injustice for some. That's what it should be saying. Or justice for all. Whatever. Read on.
And everyone should leave his laws.
So, this is Hellenism or democracy. If you notice and you look around, especially here in New York or America, the great melting pot, Babylon the Great, when you watch these Muslims move here or these Hindus move here, they move here, they'll have the women, for example, the Muslim women, they'll look like mummies. They'll have their face covered. All you see is their eyes. Then as time progresses, you'll see them with the same, the mask is gone. Then you see what they call it, the wimple, the things around their head. Then you start seeing them with the dress. And you look under the dress, you see pants. Then as time goes on, you'll see them, hair wrap is still there. You look down again, there is no dress. Now there's just pants. You look at the Arab man, he comes with the little, whatever they wear, the turban thing. They wear their own little garments. And then the following few months or years, you see a business suit. You're like, what's going on? The Asian man come with a kimono, got the samurai sword. He comes here, three-piece suit. It's odd, very odd. Hamites come, they come with their garments and so forth, three-piece suit. East Indians come here, three-piece suit. They leave their laws, they leave their culture. It's not just us. All nations, when they come here, over time, they lose themselves.
Hey, a good example of that is when you watch these people speak in the United Nations. And most of them wear suits. The only one that I've seen who held on is that Ahmadinejad. Yeah. He put the tent outside the UN. They don't like that. So we got to work on him. The Persian. They said we don't like this.
Yeah.
But after a while, he going to be with a suit. They're going to get him too. I don't know when, but they're working on him.
Read 42.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed.
Stop. See that? So all the heathen agreed. So it wasn't just Israel that fell into that Hellenistic vibration, that Greek it's Greek assimilation. Greek assimilation, that's what it is. Okay, read again.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Of him, go ahead.
Yea, many also of the Israelites.
Many Israelites as well, go ahead.
Consented to his religion.
To his what?
To his religion.
To his what?
To his religion.
That's what it is. It's a religion. It's a Greek religion. When you say all should be one people, that's a Greek religion. That's a Babylonian religion, actually, that the Greeks borrowed. And the Romans also borrowed. And America, who is from Greco-Rome, has borrowed as well. Because America is known as the daughter of Babylon. But she adopted Babylon's customs and philosophies and politics. Same thing. Read again.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
Go ahead.
And sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
Sacrifice unto idols. The heathen did too. You'll have Arabs. Now they celebrate Christmas. You'll have Ishmael. They had their Krishna. Now they're Christians now. Now they're worshiping Caesar now. You watch, you see it. Ham comes here, Muslim. Then they celebrating Christmas. Or they're celebrating New Year's. The Chinese have their own New Year. They come here, celebrate America's New Year. It's craziness. Because they're consenting to America's or the extended Greco-Romans religion. Go ahead.
And profaned the Sabbath.
Go ahead. That's why most of the time on the businesses, when do businesses stay open longer? During Fridays and Saturdays. You turn the TV on, 50% off on all shoes Saturday. You're like, damn, why can't it be a sale on Monday? Or a Sunday sale? No, Friday, Saturday. Closeout sale, Friday, Saturday. You're like, damn. Profane the Sabbath. That's why on Sundays, you notice the stores are closed because they uphold Christianity, where Christianity says the seventh day is in the Sabbath of the week. The first day is. Esau's the adverse opposite. So they cause us, whether directly or indirectly, to profane the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
They're strange because God didn't give that to us. God didn't give us a law that says all should be one people. So that to us, that's strange. Go ahead.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
Should profane the Sabbath. That's why many of us in here have a hard time being able to keep every feast day. They say, you can't take that day off. I'll give you the Sabbath. That's it. You ain't getting no Passover off. You ain't getting no Hanukkah off. You ain't getting no Tabernacles off. Now, if your last name is Cohen, or if your last name is Schreiner or whatever, them German last names, or Steinberg or Bruckheimer, you'll get it. Your last name is Jenkins or Kuhn, nigga. No, you ain't. No. You ain't. No. You go back to work, sir. No, you ain't getting that day. That's how they force us to profane even our own festival days. We strive even to get those. We're lucky if we get the. We're blessed if we get the Sabbath. Go ahead.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
So this religion of the Greeks was to profane God's holy people, because the heathen who consented to it were already profaned them alone. But this law that Antiochus or Antiochus established was specifically aimed at profaning God's holy people. And Christianity is the same thing. All nations, Christianity is the number one religion on the earth. Islam is second place. But both target destroying our people. Both of them. Because if you notice, you go back in time, both religions were involved in our enslavement. What are the odds of that? Y'all worship different gods, but both of y'all agreed to sell us in slavery. Where's the nobility in that? What was Allah when that took place? Did Allah don't see that as being wrong? You killing a brother in front of his children and taking his wife and putting her into a harem? That Allah didn't see nothing wrong with that? That Pokemon didn't see anything wrong with that? No, he didn't see nothing wrong with that because he don't exist. That's why. Read on.
Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols.
Churches. Go ahead.
And sacrifice swine's flesh.
That's the cheapest meat. Our people who are in poverty, that meat comes cheap for them. Especially during food stamps, you're going to get a lot of that in your house. They supply that well in a black and Hispanic household. Spam. What else is other stuff? That I ate spam as a child for years. I hate spam now. I despise it. Because that's all we had. Spam. Can we get something else? You gonna get a job? No. Spam. Go ahead. Swine's flesh.
And sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Chitlins. Shrimp. Clam. Catfish. Hog mugs. Y'all know that. Y'all know that in the black and Hispanic household. Go ahead.
That they should also leave their children uncircumcised.
They're attempting to make it illegal to circumcise children by labeling it child abuse. The only reason why they are having a hard time establishing that is because, as you know, Steinberg, Bruckheimer, and them, they do that. And they run things, so they can't pass that law. The Most High got it where they can't affect their own. We can't affect them. We can't make our own do it, so we ain't going to force the Negroes to do it either. They want to get rid of welfare. They can't. Why? Because most of the Bruckheimers and the Lucases and all of them are on that, or most of them is on that. So they can't get rid of that either. Most High's a genius. Got a trick bag with that one. Go ahead.
That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
So making our souls abominable. Why? So our God can't defend us. So we can remain slaves here. Keep them profane. I can't say them like that. I can't deliver them like that. They got to stay slaves. So in the nations, they know this. So keep them profane. Keep them uncircumcised, unclean. Go ahead.
To the end.
Watch this. This is the conclusion of the whole religion of democracy, of Christianity, of Greek assimilation. Go ahead.
To the end, they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
To the end, we might what? Forget the law. The law tells us what? Who we are, where we come from. Forget the Bible. That's the conclusion of the whole Greek assimilation matter. To cause Israel to forget the law. That's why you hear Negroes say today the law is what? Done away with. That way you stay what? Unclean and in your profanation. You can whore around, sleep around, get high, get drunk, sell drugs, go to the club, celebrate every holiday under the sun that you don't understand. So your God can't defend you. That's the whole purpose of Christianity. They're reading Christianity right here.
Can I read?
Yeah.
I want to read something that, because the class that I had earlier, this should have been added to the scripture that we was reading. Proverbs 12 and 26. This is going along with what we just read here in the 49th verse.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor.
The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, because the righteous person is going to have the law in their mind. They're going to have the commandments in their mind. But what it says, read it.
The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor.
So the righteous man, the repentant brother or sister, is more righteous than the neighbor, meaning the people on the outside of them, meaning Israel in the context of what it's talking about here. But in reality, it's more excellent than everybody, period, because you're keeping the commandments of the Most High. Read.
But the way of the wicked seduceth
But
them.
the way of the wicked seduceth the righteous into wickedness by the constant barrage of evil that's constantly being brought to them. Corinthians 15 and 33.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners.
A constant barrage, a constant onslaught of evil communication will eventually corrupt good manners. And that's what we're reading here. Go back to the scripture that the deacon pulled. Maccabees 1:49. That's the point. Read it.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 49. To the end they might forget the law.
To the end of constantly hearing the corrupt communication. To the constant barrage of what was the other one? The way of the wicked seduceth them. All that constantly being pushed on you has a purpose. The purpose of the reason why the evil is constantly pushed to you. The reason why the churches, the Christianity, what you're talking about, constantly giving you that garbage. The constant reason for the church, for the Christmas carols, all that garbage. The point of it is to do what we're reading here. Read it again.
To the end they might forget the law.
If you constantly in a situation where they're constantly bringing you pork chops, bringing you Christianity, bringing you evil communication and wickedness, after a while it will wear down your resistance. And by a process of not continuing to have repetition of the commandments, you will begin to forget them. To the end they may forget the commandments. That's what it's talking about. Read it again and give it back to the deacon.
To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
And all of the laws of the Most High in their mind is changed. Now you read the law out the Bible. What they say, the laws are done away with. Where the hell you read that at? Where in the world does the Bible say that the laws are done away with? But in their mind, the ordinances have been changed into you could be anything. Do what you want to do. Whatever feels good. Do what you want to do. That's changing of the ordinances. That ain't the Bible. That's their mind. That's Christianity. Go ahead.
Come as you are. That's the biggest mind spell ever. Christians, come as you are. Christianity tells you, come as you are, stay as you are. The Bible says, come as you are and become somebody better. But Christianity says, no. Stay as you are. What you are is fine. You're a man that feels like he's a woman, that's fine. God made you that way. Then what the Bible says, the Christianity says different. You're a woman that feels that she's a woman. You're a woman that feels she should be a man. Christianity says that's fine. Stay as you are. It's madness. Get 2 Maccabees 9 verse 3. We're going to read the conclusion of this same demon that established this law. Let's read his fate in 2 Maccabees 9 and verse 3. Because our enemies don't acknowledge who we are until the Most High puts his foot in their behind. Then they understand then they recognize us. Then they understand. When we're docile and complacent and we believe what they believe, like it said in that Stockholm Syndrome definition, you share their values, they don't respect you. When you imagine a white man gets a gun, blows your brains out. Then you crying, oh, why you kill us? Then you go into his church and worship him as Caesar. They're not going to take you seriously. I wouldn't take us seriously. Don't make no sense. You complain about injustice against black folks at the hands of white people, then you go and celebrate Christmas? Then you go and celebrate Thanksgiving? And you pray to a white Jesus? And I should take you seriously? Seriously? I should take you seriously. That doesn't make any sense. That's why these nations do what they do to us. Because they've caused us to not be taken seriously. And Stockholm Syndrome has made it where we think that that's rational. It's not rational. It's an illness. 2 Maccabees 9 verse 3. But we're going to see what happens when the Most High steps in, how these heathens change their mind real quick. Watch this.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 9 and verse 3. Now when he came to Ecbatane, news was brought him what had happened unto Nicanor and Timothy.
You know about Nicanor. Nicanor is one of our feast days. We killed that dude, hung his head on the up for everyone to see. I love that history. You gotta read it on your own about Nicanor. That was one of his main men. He got put to death. He got angry. Go ahead.
Then swelling with anger, he thought to avenge upon the Jews the disgrace done unto him by those that made him flee.
Go ahead.
Therefore commanded he his chariot man to drive without ceasing, and to dispatch the journey. The judgment of God now following him.
So now he got word that his main men who he sent against us were killed. He says, you know one thing? I'm going to take care of this myself. Not realizing that the Most High had a judgment set for him on his way to attack us. Go ahead.
For he had spoken proudly in this sort, that he would come to Jerusalem and make it a common burying place of the Jews.
So he spoke that he was going to turn Jerusalem into a graveyard and bury all the Jews in Jerusalem. That was his thought process. Go ahead.
But the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, smote him with an incurable and invisible plague.
Go ahead.
For as soon as he had spoken these words,
So as soon as he said, I'm going to turn that place into a graveyard, go ahead.
a pain of the bowels that was remediless came upon him, and sore torments of the inner parts, and that most
Meaning no cure.
No, there was no cure.
Remediless means no without remedy.
Right.
That's what it's talking about.
and that most justly, for he had tormented other men's bowels with many and strange torments.
So the Most High struck him with a pain in his stomach that was so bad there's no cure for it. And he did the same thing to other men. He would disembowel people. So it says unjustly, because he was doing the same thing he did to people's bowels, the Lord did to his bowels. Go ahead.
Howbeit, he nothing at all ceased from his begging.
So even in the midst of his pain and his bowels the Lord put in him, he still ran his mouth. This is how these Edomites roll.
Read it again.
Read again.
Howbeit, he nothing at all ceased from his bragging.
Right. I wanted to hear the word bragging. I heard
Bragging.
something else. Okay.
Thank you. But still was filled with pride.
Even in the midst of being in pain, he was still saying, I'm going to turn that place into a burial ground. I don't care. Even in pain. How prideful these Edomites are. Go ahead.
Breathing out fire in his rage against the Jews, and commanding to haste the journey. But it came to pass that he fell down from his chariot.
He was in such pain, he fell out of his chariot. Go ahead.
Carried violently,
And he bounced over the ground. Bow, 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 bow. Getting dragged. Go ahead.
so that having a sore fall, all the members of his body were much pained.
He was in agonizing pain all over from that fall. Go ahead. As well as his stomach. Go ahead.
And thus he that a little aforeth thought he might command the waves of the sea.
And this dude who thought he can control the water, remember he called himself Antiochus or Antiochus Epiphanes, meaning God manifest on earth. That's what he called himself. This godlike man is now in agonizing pain. Which are God powers now? Go ahead.
So proud was he beyond the condition of man, and weigh the high mountains in a balance, was now cast on the ground and carried in an horse litter,
You got an ambulance, basically. Go ahead.
showing forth unto all the manifest power of God,
Go ahead.
so that the worms rose up out of the body of this wicked
So
man.
he had bruises, and worms came out of those bruises. Worms coming out of him. Go ahead.
And whilst he lived in sorrow and pain, his flesh fell away.
And his skin started to come off. His skin started peeling off now. Most High is jacking this guy up piece by piece. First he hit his bowels, gave him worms, now his skin took his skin off. Go ahead.
And the filthiness of his smell was noisome to all his army.
His army couldn't be around him because he smelled so bad.
His body was rotting.
Yeah, he was rotting.
There's a rotten body.
Yep.
Most High's making him stink.
Go ahead.
And the man that thought a little afore he could reach to the stars of heaven, no man could endure to carry for his intolerable stink.
Nobody wanted to carry him. He couldn't walk. They said, I'm going to carry that guy. He stinks. His own men. Go ahead.
Here therefore, being plagued, he began to leave off his great pride.
Then after he got footness behind, that pride left him slowly now. Start to realize he ain't so much as a God no more. He ain't no God no more. Go ahead.
And to come to the knowledge of himself by the scourge of God, his pain increasing every moment.
So as he was in pain, he realized, yo, I'm not a God at all. The Jews' God did this to me. He realized he had time to reflect on his stupidity. Go ahead.
And when he himself could not abide his own smell.
So he couldn't even stand his own smell. Damn, I stink. Oh, man. Go ahead.
He said these words, it is meet to be subject unto God, and that a man that is mortal should not proudly think of himself as if he were God.
If only the white man would think that today. That's his mindset from then until now. But the Most High put a foot in this guy's behind. He started to realize I ain't a God no more. And I shouldn't speak like I'm one. Go ahead.
This wicked person vowed also unto the Lord, who now no more would have mercy upon him, saying thus.
Whoa, stop. Don't read by that fast. Read it again.
This wicked person vowed also unto the Lord.
So now Antiochus wants to convert now. Now he wants to teach the laws of God all of a sudden, while he's in agonizing pain and diseased. Go ahead.
Who now no more would have mercy upon him.
There's no mercy granted for this dude. None. No repentance, none of that offered to him. Go ahead.
Saying thus, that the holy city to the which he was going in haste, to lay it even with the ground, and to make it a common burying place, he was set at liberty.
To the place he said he was going to turn to a graveyard. He said, you know one thing? I'll remove the taxes from them. I'll treat them good. I promise. Now he had to change your heart now. Go ahead.
And as touching the Jews, whom he had judged not worthy so much as to be buried, but to be cast out with their children to be devoured of the fowls and wild beasts, he would make them all equals to the citizen of Athens.
Oh, now you want to give us status now. Now you're in pain, you want to give us status, huh? Go ahead.
And the holy temple, which before he had spoiled, he would garnish with goodly gifts, and restore all the holy vessels with many more.
Everything I stole from the temple, I'll put it back. I defiled it, I'll clean it. Go ahead.
And out of his own revenue,
I'll pay for it myself.
Defray the charges belonging to the sacrifices.
Go ahead, pay back the sacrifices. Go ahead.
Yea, and that also.
Yeah, it's reparations. I'm offering reparations. Go ahead.
Yea, and that also he would become a Jew himself.
See that? I'll follow the laws of the Jews too. Anything to get out of that pain. He said, I'll follow their laws even. I'll even follow their commandments if I have to. Go ahead.
And go through all the world that was inhabited and declare the power of God.
And I'll be a Christian, modern Christian. Ain't that what Edomites do today? Go through all the world, declaring the power of God, so-called, their power of their God. But his mindset was the same thing. I'll become a Jew. I'll spread the word of God while he's in this pain, while he's in this suffering. Go ahead.
But for all this, his pains would not cease.
Osai was like, no, you're going to keep suffering. Go ahead.
For the just judgment of God was come upon him.
Go ahead.
Therefore, despairing of his health, he wrote unto the Jews the letter underwritten, containing the form of a supplication after this manner.
Realizing he's going to die, he wrote this letter.
Antiochus, king and governor, to the good Jews, his citizens.
See that? To the good Jews. Now he's flattering us now. To the good Negroes over there in Jerusalem.
See, that's what happens when you get beat up the right way. Okay, when you get beat up the right way, all of a sudden you come to your senses. You know what? You weren't that bad after all.
Yeah.
Huh? You ever had a fight with somebody that whooped the hell out of them? They get plenty of sense after that. They're in good spirits after that. They're your friends after that. Huh? Y'all know nothing about that. Y'all never put the beats on anybody? Huh? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And Antiochus, king and governor, to the good Jews, his citizens, wisheth much joy health and prosperity.
Oh, he wishes us much joy, health, and prosperity now. Go ahead. He wished us death before. Now it's joy and prosperity now. Go ahead.
If ye and your children fare well, and your affairs be to your contentment, I give very great thanks to God, having my hope in heaven.
Go ahead.
As for me, I was weak, or else I would have remembered kindly your honor and goodwill. Returning out of Persia, and being taken with a grievous disease, I thought it necessary to care for the common safety of all.
Oh, now the city won't be democratic now. I care for all people now. Go ahead.
Not distrusting mine health, but having great hope to escape this sickness.
So his whole purpose was to talk those fancy words to get out of that ailment the Most High put on him. He was he was lying. He ain't going to do nothing. He wanted to get out of that sickness. Go ahead.
But considering that even my father, at what time he led an army into the high countries, appointed a successor, to the end that if anything fell out contrary to expectation, or if any tidings were brought that were grievous, they of the land, knowing to whom the state was left, might not be troubled.
Blah, blah, blah. Go to 50:28. Care about these words. Verse 28.
Verse 28.
Oh, wait a second. You the point that you made about he did all of this to get out of the sickness?
Yeah.
Most Negroes in Christianity,
Yes.
they think the same way.
Yep.
They don't realize that the only reason why he would be quote unquote nice to you is because that judgment got on his behind, and they will forget his original intent was to destroy you. Mm-hmm. Y'all see that? So whenever they talk like what we're reading here, he did all of this for one purpose, to get out of the sickness. Mm-hmm. So where should your mind be? You hope that he die. They say, well, yeah, Lord, you know what? Take the sickness from him because he said he's sorry. No, you don't take the sickness from him, because if he took it from him, he'd go right back to bringing you down again. That's what Christianity teaches us, that sickness.
And this is the practice of Christianity right here. Verse 28.
Verse 28. Thus the murderer and blasphemer, having suffered most grievously, as he entreated other men, so died he a miserable death in a strange country in the mountains.
Good riddance.
That was justice.
That's justice right there.
That was justice, but the Christians don't think so. They would say the Lord shouldn't have done that. The Lord should have forgave him and let him off the hook. He would have never came to that, what he was saying, had the Most High not put his foot up his behind. So it was just for him to die. Just like it's just for your enemy to die.
Yep. What the wisdom of Solomon 18 and verse 13. I missed this one, but it goes right along with Maccabees. Wisdom of Solomon 18 verse 13. We read earlier verses 7 and 8. We're going to read verse 13.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18 verse 13. For whereas they will not believe anything by reason of the enchantments.
The Egyptians didn't believe Moses and Aaron because they had witches that did the same exact thing. So they didn't believe in the miracles of Moses and them. But watch this.
Upon the destruction of the firstborn.
When they lost their firstborn, go ahead. When things got real, go ahead.
They acknowledged this people to be the sons of God.
Just like Antiochus. You're the sons of God. Health and prosperity be to you. When the Lord steps in, now we're the sons of God now, right? When we're unclean and profane, yeah, let's hang them, let's murder them, let's kill them. See the difference?
You know what's beautiful about the Lord's judgment? He takes you through the baby steps first. He saves the one that's going to get you last. He destroy your economy, destroy your world, destroy this, destroy that, and you still being boastful. I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight. Just like Pharaoh did. The Most High hardened his heart all the way to the end. So when he killed his son, the other's damage has already been done. That's a good way to tear behind up.
Yep.
You go through the whole thing and save the best for last. Cut his head off. Boom. Go ahead.
So now you have this new breed of people in Christianity that are trying to come at Israelites now. I'm not going to say it, give them a name, because Captain Zephaniah told me to keep it quiet. So I'll be nice. You have a certain group of modern Christians who are trying to, I guess, make a name for themselves by coming at us, make themselves seem like the tough Christians, and they're going to come at us and challenge us. And one of the biggest things that they do is they defend Esau. What do I mean? If you notice, a lot of the arguments from Israelites alike and Christians, modern and Christianity alike, is they will find a way to make Esau not the so-called white man. They won't argue who Moab is. They will not argue who Ammon is. They won't really argue who Ishmael is, Ham, Japheth. They don't argue that. Their main focus is Esau is not the white man. Now, us at IUIC, we don't spend our time talking about Esau the devil, white man the devil. We have more substance than that. We've evolved beyond that. There's bigger issues. Okay? Hopefully y'all all think the same. Hopefully y'all white man's the devil. Every day in the house, just crying, mad. Esau's the devil. Yes, he is. But that's not, the Bible's bigger than that. It's far bigger than that. But these modern diehard Christians are making it as if we just focus on that. So they'll say, well, they go to the Bible and try to find good Edomites to defend, to go, see, you can't condemn them. Job, we're going to deal with that today. Job was an Edomite. He was perfect and just, and God dealt with him. He was an Edomite. Because you can't find Job's lineage in the scriptures, so they use that to their advantage. Think they're slick. But you have to ask yourself, why go through so much trouble to defend a nation that you know confidently is not the white man? That means you subconsciously know in back of your mind, he is the white man. So you go through all great lengths and reach to find a way to make one of the Edomites righteous. Stockholm syndrome.
There you go, Stockholm right there.
Stockholm syndrome. That's what it is.
I think there's another term for it too, battered wife syndrome.
Yeah, same thing.
It might be the same.
It's in the same vein.
Yeah, it's in the same vein. Battered wife syndrome.
So the Marcus Iscariot, I'll call him that, who left us. Marcus Iscariot, who left us, decided to join with this diehard Christian group that's out to get us somehow. I don't know why. They must be gluttons for punishment for that one. And he used the number of scriptures I'm going to address tonight for your arsenal. He gave them arsenal against us. I'm going to give y'all arsenal against them. And these are far bigger bullets than those. Let's get Acts 24:24. Acts 24:24, he uses this. Acts 24:24.
The book of Acts 24:24.
Now, this is when Paul was imprisoned. He was locked up at this time, and he encountered a man named Felix. And Felix was a heathen that had power. I'll say heathen that had power to remove him out of prison, but he didn't. He let Paul stay in jail even longer because Paul didn't give him no money. So he let Paul stay in jail for 2 years, even longer. Read on.
And after certain days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, which was a Jewess.
Stop. Which was a Jewess. So you read that and go, oh, she was an Israelite. No, she wasn't. She was not an Israelite. Well, we're going to get to that. Jewess, go ahead.
He sent for Paul and heard him concerning the faith in Christ.
So he wanted to hear what Paul's teaching. Remember, Paul was being persecuted for what he was teaching. So this heathen said, well, let me hear what you got, what you want to teach. Let me hear what your doctrine. Let me hear it. Go ahead, watch this.
And as he reasoned of righteousness, temperance, and judgment to come.
So when he gave Felix a brief understanding of his doctrine, go ahead.
Felix trembled.
What did Felix do?
Felix trembled.
It scared him. He didn't like it because it wasn't for him. Go ahead.
And answered, go thy way for this time.
All right, you got to go. All right, that's enough. You got to go. Go ahead.
When I have a convenient season, I will call for thee.
When I want to talk to you again, I'll call for you. Go ahead.
He hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul.
So he didn't hear what Paul had to say. So actually, he wanted money from Paul. He knew Paul had status, but Paul didn't give it to him. Go ahead.
That he might loose him.
Bail him out of jail. Go ahead.
Wherefore he sent for him the oftener and communed with him.
Go ahead.
But after 2 years, Porcius Festus came into Felix's room.
Felix got replaced by Porcius Festus. Go ahead.
And Felix, willing to show the Jews a pleasure, left Paul bound.
And Felix, the Jews they're the Pharisees and scribes, they hated Paul. So to do them a favor, he let Paul stay in jail longer. You understand? So Felix left Paul in jail. He was not our people. And guess what? His wife wasn't either. Go to Drusilla, please. Let's see who she was. And why is she called a Jewess? Drusilla, daughter of Herod Agrippa. A daughter of Herod Agrippa the first, and thus sister to Berenice, Mariamne, and Herod Agrippa the second. Herod Agrippa and Berenice were husband and wife / brother and sister. Yes, they were that filthy. She perished in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. It was a volcano erupted and killed a lot of Edomites. All praises. Go down. See what it mentions her. See, marriage to Antonius Felix. That's who Paul spoke to. Go down. It's going to tell you what it's referencing. See, Book of Acts 24:24 reports her thus as a Jewess. So why is a child of Herod or the Herodian lineage called a Jewess? Give me Luke 1 and 5. Luke 1 and 5.
The book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea.
Judea is the Latinized term for Judah. Can a heathen be a king of Judah? What nationality could you be to be a king of Judah? You must be a Jew. An Israelite, period. So how did a Herod, a known Idumean, Edomite, become a king of the Jews? Because he was a convert. When you go into the history of John Hyrcanus, he conquered a sect of Edomites. Jerusalem began to expand at some point in history. It began to expand. During the Hasmonean family, that's Judas Maccabees, Simon. Simon had a son named John. That's John Hyrcanus. Under his rule, Jerusalem began to expand and take over lands. A land belonging to Edom. He said, listen, you guys either get killed out or you convert and let us take over. This sect of Edomites chose to convert. Okay? And that sect of Jews that converted, out of them came a man named Antipater. Antipater is the father of the Herodian line, the Herods, or so-called. Herod comes from the word hero. These guys are far from heroes. That's where the word comes from. All right? So Herods come from a man named Antipater, who was John Hyrcanus' councilman, who eventually underhandedly had his sons take over the rulership of Jerusalem, and they became king of Judea. Y'all understand?
And they're recorded in the history books as Idumeans.
Right, Idumeans.
Straight up.
Man, let's get it. Get the Bible dictionary real quick. Let's read it real fast.
I'd have known you would have gone in. I would have brought that book in.
So how in the hell did an Idumean become a king of Judah? King of Judea? Or a king of the Jews? Because they were converts. And their descendants today are those people over there called Israelis. Yep. We're going to read that too. Get the definition, please. Go to Israeli. Go type in Israeli etymology. Read Herod, yes.
That's the group that Christ was talking about in Revelation.
You
got that?
Okay.
After this,
All
yes.
right. I got it.
Zondervan Bible Dictionary,
yes.
Page 224. Herod, Idumean rulers of Palestine.
What was he?
Idumean rulers of Palestine.
He was an Idumean ruler. Idumea is Edom. It's a Greek or Latin word for Edom, or as an Edomite ruler of the Jews. Right. That's why he's called a Jew. She's called a Jewess. She was not a Jew. They were converts. You understand? Now, Israeli, let's read that. So the children of Herod, their descendants down the line, they eventually went into Khazaria. They moved to the mountains of Khazaria, Caucasus Mountains in South Georgia, Russia. And then eventually moved down. They were conquered by the Mongols and were forced out into the areas of Poland, where they became sheep herders. Then from Poland, they migrated up into Germany and Russia and so forth. Some remained in Spain. Y'all understand? Yes. Now, let's see what the word Israeli. You heard that word before? Israeli? Familiar with y'all? Israeli. Citizen of the state of Israel. It says Hebrew national designation. It says it distinguishes the citizens of the modern state from the ancient people who have been known in English since 14th century as Israelites. Israeli is a distinguishing of the two. If you're an Israeli, you're not an Israelite. You are a citizen of the land. You just live there. You ain't the people. You're a renter, an imposter, an illegal alien. Y'all understand that now? Oh, that's what they are. Israelis. Jewish is what Drusilla was, and Israeli also.
Hey, that's so ironic, because I was talking to this Amalek. You know, I told him, I said, listen, I'm an Israelite. He said, oh, me too, I'm an Israelite. I said, no. I said, you are Israeli. Yeah, for real. That's what I told him. I said, you are Israeli, you are an Israelite. You know? But
Right.
there's a big difference. When you born in that land, the original people of that land, and the people that was put there is a big difference. You understand?
Go back to that. I ain't finished. I want you to read what it says here. It says, citizen of the state of Israel. What year was that word established? 1948. When was the land established? 1948. Israel was established 1948. They made that word up. That's a new word, Israeli. That's nowhere in the Bible. They call themselves that because they know they're not the children of Israel. They're just citizens of the land. They play semantics with you. I'm an Israeli. I'm Jewish. They play semantics. You understand? So, now let's go to Revelations 2:9. Let's see why she's called the Jewess. And why Herod was called the king of Judea or the king of Judah. Revelations 2:9.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them.
Know the what?
The blasphemy of them.
The blasphemy, meaning the filthy lie of them.
Which say they are Jews.
Herod, which will be Drusilla as well. She's in that same lineage. Drusilla, go ahead.
And are not.
And are not, go ahead.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
But are the devil the Bible speaks of. Go to 3 and 9.
Revelation 3 verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not.
Like Deacon Malachi said earlier, which say they are Jews and are not. Go ahead.
But do lie.
But they're lying about saying that they're Jews because they're not the Jews. Go ahead.
Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
I hear Christians say this talking about wicked Israelites. Really? Get Acts 13 verse 6. Precept for that. Let's see if this is talking about wicked Israelites. He's going to have wicked Israelites bow before our feet? No, they're going to be dead. They're not bound before anything. They're going to get nuked. Acts 13 verse 6.
The book of Acts chapter 13 verse 6. And when they had gone through the isle unto Paphos, they found a certain sorcerer, a false prophet, a Jew.
A Jew. A false prophet, a Jew. Go ahead.
Whose name was Bar Jesus.
Son of Jesus. Go ahead.
Which was with the deputy of the country, Sergius Paulus, and a prudent man who called for Barnabas and Saul, and desired to hear the word of God.
So this guy named Bar Jesus was close to the deputy of the land who wanted to hear the word of God, who was also a Jew. Go ahead.
But Eliamus, the sorcerer,
That's his name. Elamias is the same guy. Go ahead.
for so is his name by interpretation, withstood them,
He stopped them from trying to teach this brother, the deputy. Go ahead.
seeking to turn away the deputy from the
He
faith.
was a scorner, a scoffer. Go ahead.
Then Saul, who is also called Paul, filled with the Holy Ghost, set his eyes on him,
Go ahead.
and said, O full of all subtlety and all mischief, thou child of the devil, thou enemy of all righteousness, wilt thou not cease to pervert the right ways of the Lord?
Now, what's the problem with this? Verse 6, he says he was a Jew. Verse 10 says the child of the devil. Paul didn't say to his brother, you're not a Jew. He was a Jew and a devil. Revelation says that they are not Jews and they're devils. That's the difference. This guy was a Jew and called the devil. Revelation 2 and 9, it's not talking about Israelites. It's referring to false Jews. Because you can be a Jew and still be a devil. That don't change your nationality. You're just a wicked Israelite. Like Christ told Peter, get behind me, Satan. Like Christ told him in John, you are your father the devil. But they were still Jews. So he wasn't referring to them. He was referring to the false ones of his time. The Agrippas, the Herods. He's referring to them. You understand? So regardless of being Satan, you're still a Jew. If you're wicked and you're an Israelite. But he says to those who say they are Jews and lie, they blaspheme by saying that. You understand? So Revelation 2 and 9 is not talking about Israelites being wicked. Because we're reading here, this guy was called a Jew and a devil. 2 and 9, Revelation 2 and 9 says they are not Jews and devils. Now, let's get Genesis 25, verse 20. So again, you have these modern Christians trying their hardest to defend Esau by using books outside the Bible to justify their emotions.
You said 25?
Yep, you know I want.
Genesis 25 and 20. Oh.
Yeah.
And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
This blessing is from God. Why am I in such pain? Why are these children fighting in my womb? Because these children were not going to like each other, ever. Go ahead.
And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall...
Stop. 2 nations are in your womb. 2 different manner of people. Act different, look different. Or fraternal. 2 manner of people. Go ahead.
Shall be separated from thy bowels.
And when they come out, they will not be close. They'll be separate. In separate nations on top of that. Go ahead.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Go ahead.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
Which is the strongest. Go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
The doctrine is this. According to books outside the Bible, Jacob and Esau were identical twins. They looked exactly the same. But that's very odd, because you would think that if both of them look the same, why mention one? Why mention one of them at all? If they both look identical, why mention even the other one? What's the point of that? If both of them look exactly the same, is there a reason to mention one is red and hairy all over if both of them look exactly the same? So obviously one looked odd. This is the first time color is mentioned in the Bible regarding someone's features, physical features. I'm going to say it again. This is the first time someone's physical features are mentioned biblically in Genesis. You understand? Because this child looked odd. He was abnormal from everybody else. Red and hairy. Go ahead.
And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
Go ahead. Called his name Esau. Now, that's the origin of Esau. That's how he came into the world. Red and hairy. Jacob is not described. Why? Don't call out. Don't call out. Why isn't Jacob described? Or new hand. You. Yes, stand up. Just say your names. I'm not going to say you until... Not you, brother. Behind you. Brother behind you. Yes.
Azrael.
Azrael, okay.
Because he looked like everybody else.
Yes. He looked normal. That's why he's not described. Esau looked different from everybody else. All right. Now, let's jump down to verse 30. Okay.
Before you move on, and this is heavy, right? If what we just read there in Genesis 25 and 25, if that don't explain who Esau is, or if that's not Esau, if that's not the so-called white man, Go to the Bible. This is what you ask them. Go to the Bible and show me who is the white man today. I bet you they can't. They gonna try to go to Japhet?
Yeah.
Man, that's the old school Israel. I'm talking about these Christians.
They do that too.
Oh, they do that too? Well, they bugging.
They sharing notes.
How they gonna go to Japhet? How they gonna run to Japhet? Japhet and his two brothers, who you had Ham, Shem, and Japheth. When they were born, did it mention anything about their color? No. So all the people of Japheth, Ham, and Shem were all black.
Yep.
Just like you pointed out, the only one that was mentioned concerning color during birth was Esau.
Yep.
So these Negroes can't run. They're sick selves. Go ahead, man.
Stockholm. That's that empathy. I'm a defender condemned nation because I know in back of my subconscious that's the white man. I'm not going to tell you that, but I know for certain that that's the white man. So we'll just find scriptures to defend him and save him and make good ones out of him when there are none that are good of him. Read on, 26.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
We're going to deal with that later. After that came his brother out, who's not described, by the way, and grabbed on his heel, his red, hairy heel. Go ahead.
And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
Took them 20 years, so he finally had twin boys. He was 60, at this time, he's 60 years old. He asked for him at 40, he had him at 60. Go ahead.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
A cunning hunter. Go ahead.
A man of the field.
Always in the field, messing with animals. Go ahead.
And Jacob was a plain man,
Homeboy, chilling in the tents. Go ahead.
dwelling in tents.
We don't do that. We don't hunt animals. That's not what we do. We don't kill animals to their extinct. We don't hunt people to their extinct. We don't do those things.
You reading their characteristics right there. Don't they like to hunt? They go and get deer piss and put out all on them, make them smell like the animals and all that to attract the deers and all that.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. What happened to the killer whale? Is it almost extinct? Is that the hands of black people? What happened to the bald eagle? Is it almost extinct because of us? No. I wonder who's doing that. It damn sure ain't black folks out there hunting. Yo, Tyrone, get that killer whale over there, man. Nah, B, I ain't getting nothing. We don't do that stuff. That's not our manner. Two manner of people. We don't do those things. Look at the great white shark. He's white like me. We don't do that stuff. Going in a cage with a scuba gear, messing with sharks. We don't do those things. They're in the field all the time. They have a show called Something Hunters. Crocodile Hunter. Irwin got stabbed by a damn stingray. You would think he would know it's a stingray. Don't get stung by the stingray. But this is what they do. This is their manner. We don't do things like that. And if there is, show me a nation of dark people that run around doing that. Since Esau is black like everybody else, show me. Show me some black Romans. Because Esau is the forefather of the Roman Empire. That's history. That's clear history. Common knowledge. Esau is the forefather of the Roman Empire. Romans are Italians. Are Italians Negroes? No. Were Italians hanging Negroes from trees? Yes. Did they own Negroes? Did they kill Christ on that cross? Yes. Yes. They became Spaniards. They became your Columbus, your Hernan Cortez. They became your Portuguese. They became your French. These are all Spaniards. Those are not black folks. Read on.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison.
Esau was the lively one. He was the one that brought the meat home. So you respected him more. Go ahead.
But Rebekah loved Jacob.
Because the Lord spoke to her and told her regarding the two boys, who he was going to deal with. Go ahead.
And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint.
Go ahead.
And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage,
Uncooked meat.
for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Because he was the same color as that red meat. So the Lord said, you know what? His name is Edom, like that meat he wants to eat. Edom. Because he remained red in adulthood. He didn't change. He stayed that way, red and hairy. Go ahead.
I heard an Edomite read that, and he didn't use the term meat. He said lentils.
No.
Y'all know what I'm talking about? He used the term lentils. What color lentil beans? That ain't what made it red. If you cook meat, what color does it get? So what color was the meat? Because the lentil beans ain't gonna be red. So what's red? And if the meat is raw, that's the color of it. If it's cooked, it ain't red. So how did this man like his meat? Rare, with the blood running out of it.
Yep.
He loved it that way.
Because he's uncooked too. Read on.
And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me?
Listen, man, I'm about to die. The hell with that birthright. Give me that food. He didn't care about the Lord's. The birthright represents the Most High's power, protecting you, honoring your lineage, giving you power. The same blessing he gave to Abraham and Isaac will come down to him. He said, I don't want that. The hell with that. I want food. He didn't respect that birthright at all because he was wicked as hell. Read on.
And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him.
He said, you don't want it? Fine. Give it to me. He said, okay, you can have it. Go ahead.
And he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
Go ahead.
Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
So from that day forth, he despised the birthright. He said, the hell with that. I don't want that anyway.
So they're saying that Jacob stole it.
That's what they say.
They say Jacob stole it, but you just read here where it say he sold it.
Yep.
Because he didn't treat it like nothing. He said, what the hell is this birthright going to do to me, and I'm about to die? That was on him. That had nothing to do with Jacob.
Yep. You're 27:37. Chapter 27 verse 37. You're going
Jacob saw the opportunity and took it, though. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what it means to plant.
Exactly. He said, well, you're stupid enough to let it go. Give it to me.
Genesis 27:37.
No, verse 36. Watch this. He's going to say it.
36. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times.
Now he's lying. Because the first time he said, I don't want it. The second time, Jacob took that one. Jacob got that blessing from Rebekah. But the first son, Esau sold it to him. So now he's complaining now. He lost both, the blessing and the birthright. Now he's complaining. Go ahead.
And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times.
So Jacob means to supplant. Go ahead.
He took away my birthright.
Go ahead.
And behold, now he hath taken away my blessing.
Based on Rebekah's orders. Go ahead.
And he said,
And the Most High through Rebekah's orders. Go ahead.
hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?
Go ahead.
And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son?
Go ahead.
And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
You start crying based on Hebrews 12. Go ahead.
And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
You shall live in the best places of the earth. Go ahead.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
Everywhere. The best places of the earth. Go ahead.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
You would obtain those things by the sword, by taking it by force.
Hold it. Read all that again. Because somebody trying to say this is not talking about the so-called white man. Read those verses again.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness.
Whose dwelling? Esau's dwelling. The people of Esau, his dwelling, meaning where he would be at. Go ahead. Thy dwelling shall what?
Shall be the fatness of the earth.
When they said, man, that's a fat crib, meaning it is bad laid out. That's what it's talking about. So the Most High is using that kind of language here, meaning the best places, like you pointed out earlier. Esau will have the best real estate. Listen to what the scriptures are saying. He's in the best places. He took the best parts of Puerto Rico. He took the best parts of Santo Domingo. Took the best parts of all of the island. Got the people sitting on the ground with nothing. Because he took the best places of everywhere on the earth. Anywhere there's mineral resources, the gold, diamonds, oil, whatever it is, he took it. That's what that's telling you. People stupid when they come to the Bible with their Christianity garbage. Read it. Read it again.
Thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Thy dwelling, your places where you're going to be at is going to be in the best places of the earth. I'm good. Go ahead.
And of the dew of heaven.
And as the dew of heaven mean they're everywhere. When the dew drop down on the ground, does it cover just a little spot on the ground? It gets all the grass. That's what he's saying about Esau. He's everywhere. In all the best places. Everywhere you go, his red face is there. Read.
And of the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword.
Now he's telling you how he got these places. How did he get these places?
And by the sword shalt thou live.
Because he was blessed with the weaponry. That's what that's talking about. So how in the world you're going to say this is not talking about him? Just like Deacon Malachi said, if that's not him, who is he? Who is he? Read all of the clues that we read here. You could take him to court with the scripture here. And they said, no, you're the one. Go ahead.
Verse 40.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
Go ahead.
And shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
That's under David's lineage. It's under David the kings. Go ahead.
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him.
Pay attention. Esau hated Jacob now because he blessed him. Go ahead.
And Esau said in his heart.
What did he speak at?
And Esau said in his heart.
Esau said in his mind, in his heart, not out loud, but in his heart. Go ahead.
The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
He said on his heart, when my father dies, I'm going to kill that dude. I'm going to kill him. In his heart. Watch this. Read on. Watch this.
And these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah.
Stop. How could she hear what was in his mind? Who told her what he said in his mind? The Lord told her what he said in his mind. The Lord was dealing with her. Read again.
And these words of Esau,
which were in his heart, in his mind. Go ahead.
Her eldest son, were told to Rebekah.
How? She wasn't holding her ear to his head. The Lord told her, listen, he's going to kill Jacob. Go ahead, watch.
And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee.
So he said, he's going to get comfort killing you. He purposes to comfort himself by killing you. Go ahead.
Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise. Flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran.
Go to your uncle's house. Go ahead.
And tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away.
Esau calms down. Go ahead.
Until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence.
Then when he calms down, I'll call you back. Go ahead.
Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day?
Because if he kills you, the Lord going to kill him. I don't want to lose both of y'all, so just go. Go ahead.
And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth.
Of Hamites. Go ahead.
If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth,
Africans,
such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me?
if my son marries a Hamite, I'm going to be pissed off. It's going to bother me. Next chapter and verse.
And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan.
This is his father's commandment. Do not marry outside your race, Jacob. Go ahead.
Arise, go to Padan Aram.
Padan Aram, plain of Syria. Aram is Syria. Plain of Syria. Keep that in mind. Padan Aram, plain of Syria. Chapter 32, verse 1. Because now the doctrine is this. We smashed a few so far. Another doctrine is that, I'll get to it. I'm going to go ahead. 32 verse 1. Watch this.
The book of Genesis 32 and 1. And Jacob went on his way, And the angels of God met him.
Go ahead.
And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And he called the name of that place Mahanaim.
Mahanaim. Go ahead.
And Jacob sent messages before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom.
So he was in that way. He came across the land of Seir, Edom, Esau's land, his homeland. You understand? So he sent messengers to go talk to his brother. He sent messengers to go talk to his brother. Y'all follow? Go ahead.
And he commanded them, saying, "Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now."
Now notice he's saying, my lord Esau. Who's lord over who? Based on what we read earlier. Jacob's the lord. Esau's the servant. But Jacob said, nah, tell my lord Esau. Okay? So y'all pay attention. Go ahead.
And he commanded them, saying, "Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now.
Go ahead.
And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants, and women servants, and I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight."
Go ahead.
And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him."
Esau rolled deep. So Esau came to meet him with 400 men. Go ahead.
Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed.
Stop. We oftentimes read the Bible and think our forefathers are all superheroes. These are regular men. They did miraculous things, but they were men. They had emotions. Jacob was scared. Remember where they left off. His mother sent him away because Esau wanted to kill him. She said, "I'll call you back when he's not mad no more." She never called back for him. You understand? She never said, "Oh, come back. It's okay now." It never happened. So he's like, okay, well, I'm in my brother's land. I got to cross through here. And he's coming with 400 men. He's shook. He's scared now. And Esau was a cunning hunter. Esau wasn't no weak boy. He was tough. Go ahead.
Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him.
So he took measures. Cautionary, he took measures. Okay, I'm going to divide the people. Go ahead.
And the flocks and herds and the camels into 2 bands.
Go ahead.
And said, "If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape."
So I'll give us a time to escape. If he comes to attack us, he'll attack that first band. We'll be in the second. We can escape. That'll buy us some time because he's afraid of him. Go ahead.
And Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord would said unto me, Return into thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth, which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands."
I came in by myself. Now I'm a multitude. Now there's more of me. Go ahead. His wife and kids and so forth. Go ahead. He gained wealth. He crossed Jordan alone, came back with a multitude. Go ahead.
"Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him.
So yeah, he's saying it. For I fear him. Go ahead.
Lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children.
And kill my family. Go ahead.
And thou said, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude."
But he promised Jacob that the blessing I gave to your fathers Abraham and Isaac is going to be passed on to you. Don't worry about it. But he was still afraid. He was a regular man. Go ahead.
And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother.
You got to understand. You understand. Esau's rolling 400 deep. It's not like it's him versus him. Jacob fight him alone, probably fight him one-on-one. But he said he's coming with 400 men. Jacob wasn't no military. Jacob can defend himself against Esau, but 400 men? So at this point, he's nervous. He's distressed. So he's asking the Lord to protect him, to look after him. That's why he's so fearful. Plus Esau's hatred from so many years ago. All right?
Jake don't have a problem with understanding that. Look at it today. One Edomite will roll up and a whole crowd of Negroes be scared to death.
Yep.
So you got 400 of them against our forefather. And we don't understand that?
Right. Go ahead.
200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes.
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 Ewes is
Ewes.
she lambs. She lambs. Go ahead.
And 20 rams. 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 kine and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses and 10 foals.
This is like money. So he's like a briefcase of money. Give him some of this money. It'll calm him down. Give him some of this. So he's trying to keep Esau calm. Go ahead.
And he delivered them into the hand of his servants. Every drove by themselves and said unto his servants, pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove.
So for all the animals he had a servant at different groups. Like one group would come by, taught the Esau. One group would come by, taught the Esau. One group would come by, taught the Esau. He would do it in sections. Go ahead. That's how much money, that's how much wealth he had and servants he had. Go ahead.
And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, whose art thou? And whither goest thou? And whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us.
Go ahead.
And so commanded he the second, and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, on this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him.
Go ahead.
And say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me.
Peradventure he'll accept it. Go ahead.
So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company.
Go ahead.
And he rose up that night and took his two wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had.
So I want you to go. Let's go down to, what was that? I want to go to. Go to 33. 33 verse 1.
This is the book of Genesis 33 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men.
So he shows up with his 400 men. He rolling deep. Go ahead.
And he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost.
Go ahead.
And he passed over before them, and
He walked in front of them. Go ahead.
and bowed himself to the ground 7 times.
He bowed down himself to the ground 7 times, a form of humility. Go ahead.
Until he came near to his brother.
Go ahead.
And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him,
Esau ran and hugs him. Go ahead.
and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept.
And they started crying because he ain't seen him in so long. So Esau did forget. He calmed down, like his mother said. Go ahead.
And he lifted up his eyes and saw the woman and the children, and said, who are those with thee? And he said, the children which God hath graciously given thy servant.
Go ahead.
Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves.
Form of humility. Go ahead.
And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near, and Rachel, and they bowed themselves.
Go ahead.
And he said, what meanest thou by all this drove which I met?
What you bring all these things to me for? Go ahead.
And he said, these are to find grace in the sight of my Lord.
This is all for you. Go ahead.
And Esau said, I have enough, my brother.
I'm rich. I'm good. I'm rich like you. I don't need that stuff.
Keep that thou hast unto thyself.
I don't want it. Go ahead.
And Jacob said, nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight,
If we good, I want you to take it. You don't want to kill me? You can have it. Go ahead.
then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God.
Stop. They go, see? See? So Esau had the face of God. He looked like Esau. That's not what that means. It's what the Edomites done with this. This is, remember, he called to my Lord. He bowed down 7 times. These are statements of humility. Statements of humility. That's not literal. Because Esau is not Jacob's Lord. It's vice versa.
Y'all understand that, don't y'all? Don't let nobody fool you with that mess that they be coming up with.
Read that as though what?
As though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me. And because I have enough, he urged him, and he took it.
So he urged him, and he says, all right, fine, I'll take it. And he takes it. So now, I'll give an example. He says, I've seen your face as a face of God, right? Let's get Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 15, verse 6. Now, Mordecai sent his cousin Esther to help to basically save us from Haman's order, who was under the king, to have the Jews killed off. So she was the only one that can get close enough to the king to convince him to not allow the Jews to be killed off. Y'all understand? Her cousin Mordecai sent her, who was now the queen, to speak to the king on behalf of her people to not have us killed off. So in the midst of doing this, certain things took place. One, like Jacob, she was scared out of her mind. Esther 15.
What verse?
15 verse 3. One second. Verse 6.
Esther 15 and 6. Then having passed through all the doors.
Remember, this is a kingdom. She's a big, imagine the roofs are high. This is a huge kingdom. So she's walking through all these big doors. You got guards standing on side to side with spears, swords, whatever. She's passing through all these doors to get to the king. Go ahead.
She stood before the king, who sat upon his royal throne. It was clothed with all his robes of majesty, all glittering with gold and precious stones, and he was very dreadful.
Go ahead. He was scary as hell. Go ahead.
Then lifting up his countenance that shone with majesty, he looked very fiercely upon her.
Why? Because there was an order. You cannot show up unless the king calls you. She came outside that order. So he gave her that look. What the hell are you doing here? He gave her that look, and she was like, oh. She fainted. She could not take it.
Let me give you an example of what kind of fear comes on you when you have to deal with a situation like that. You walking through a gauntlet of military men that are at the beck and call of the king. The king could at any moment say, put him to death. And you dying. So you got to be very careful. You got to think exactly how you're going to make it through all the way up through that thing to get to this king. Y'all follow me? All right.
Go ahead.
He looked very fiercely upon her, and the queen fell down and was pale.
And she was scared. Go ahead.
And fainted, and bowed herself upon the head of the maid that went before her. Then God changed the spirit of the king into mildness.
The Lord moved this king's spirit to calm down, like he did Esau. There you go. Same thing he did to Esau, made him calm. Go ahead.
Who in a fear leaped from his throne and took her in his arms, till she came to herself again, and comforted her with loving words, and said unto her, Esther, what is the matter? I am thy brother. Be of good cheer. Thou shalt not die, though our commandment be general. Come near.
Though the commandment is I should have you killed, don't worry about it. What's wrong? Go ahead.
And so he held up his golden scepter and laid it upon her back and embraced her and said, Speak
Laid it
unto
upon
me.
her neck.
Excuse me, upon her neck.
Meaning he gave her permission to now speak to him. He has to lay his scepter upon you to receive, to talk to him. Go ahead.
And embraced her and said, Speak unto me. Then said she unto him, I saw thee, my Lord, as an angel of God.
And you know damn well he no angel of God. She said, I saw thee, my Lord, as an angel of God. Go ahead.
And my heart was troubled for fear of thy majesty.
And my heart was troubled because you're so glorious.
That's flattering.
Words of humility.
Right.
Just like Jacob. I saw you as a face of God. It's the same thing. She's not literally saying to him, he looks like an angel of God. She's not saying that. Persians do not look like angels of God. Persians look like Persians. All right? So that's what that means. Let's get past that. So scratch that nonsense. 1 Samuel 14:47.
1 Samuel 14, verse 47. So Saul took the kingdom over Israel and fought against all his enemies on every side, against Moab and against the children of Ammon and against Edom and against the kings of Zebah and against the Philistines, and whithersoever he turned himself, he vexed them.
So Saul became our king and gave the heathens hell in the process. Next verse.
And he gathered in hosts and smote the Amalekites and delivered Israel out of the hands of them that spoiled
So
them.
he smote Amalek. Gonna get chapter 15 and verse 2. Watch this.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt.
Read it again.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt.
So he says, I remember when Amalek came against Israel when we came out of Egypt. They were the first nation to attack us when we came out of Egypt. Esau forgot. He forgave Jacob. But his descendants did not forget. They maintained that hatred from Esau until now. They maintained it. You understand? So the Lord said, I remember when Amalek, Esau's children, came against you and attacked you. Get Deuteronomy 25, verse 17.
Deuteronomy 25, verse 17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when you were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind
Hindmost,
thee.
he means he smote us from behind. He attacked remember the men went from the front, the people and the women went on our people the back. The civilians, the women, the babies, the old were in the back. He came from behind and attacked us. You didn't expect. He caught us off guard. You understand? He was the first nation to do this. Go ahead.
Even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God.
Go ahead.
Therefore it shall be when the Lord thy God hath given thee rest from all thine enemies
When he put you in your land,
round about, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget
he
it.
says, you shall not forget the evil that these heathens did to you. Christianity tells you to forget everything. Forgive, love thine enemies. That's what you hear Christians use. Matthew 5:44. Servants obey your masters. That's what you hear. The Lord said, don't forget what they did to you. I'm not going to forget. You don't forget. Now, let's go back to 1 Samuel again, 15 and 2.
1 Samuel 15 and 2. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt.
Read that earlier in Deuteronomy 25. Go ahead.
Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
Stop. There's something wrong with this. Because you'll hear things like, well, not all white people had us in slavery. Well, these Amalekites here weren't the Amalekites that attacked us in the time of Egypt. So why are we killing their babies for?
You didn't read that out of the Bible. You making that up.
No, read it again.
That ain't in there.
Verse 3 again.
Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling.
Why? Read verse 2.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt.
This is years later, earlier. He's judging a nation's babies for something that their ancestors did years before. So what's that? Isn't that wrong in the eyes of Christianity? The Lord don't care about that stuff. Because they say, oh, well, there's some good ones. What did the Lord had us kill a nation, a city of Edomites for something that their ancestors did in the past, long before them. Don't make no sense to modern Christians. Read that.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 15. That which hath been is now,
Talking about man. Go ahead.
and that which is to be hath already been.
And the same man, all of us in this room, were around before. That's what he's saying. That's regeneration. Those who are around right now, in this room, women and men, were around before. Read on.
And God requireth that which is past.
And God requires that which is past. He'll judge. They try to debunk that too. He'll judge people on their past. Those Amalekites that Saul was killing in 1 Samuel were the same ones that attacked us during the time of Egypt. It's the same exact people. That's why he said, kill them now. They're back. Kill them now. Y'all understand? Hope so. And that's just a piece. I'm not going to go into that's another class. Let's get Samuel.
Left the best part out.
Outside was Samuel. When Samuel goes, he hacks them up.
Yes.
Agag.
Yes.
1 Samuel 15.
Leaving
Saul didn't kill everybody.
Leaving all the juicy stuff out. No.
32.
Saul didn't kill everybody. Jump down to verse. Jump down to verse 5.
1 Samuel 15 and verse 5. And Saul came to a city of Amalek.
Stop. He came to a city of Amalek. He didn't kill all of them off. He killed a particular city where they dwelt off, who were responsible in the past for attacking us when we came out of Egypt. Y'all understand? So he didn't kill off the entire nation, this entire group of Edomites. He killed this particular city off, or he was supposed to. Read on. Verse 7. Just to verse 7.
Verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive.
So he kept Agag alive. Go ahead. For some reason.
And utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
And killed everyone else. Now, let's go to, remember the Lord told him to kill off the women, children, animals, kill their flock. As he told them, right? You remember that? Back in verse 2 and 3? But Saul doesn't listen. Let's jump to verse 10. No, read verse 9.
Verse 9.
Let's just read on to the bottom.
But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep,
He kept the sheep,
and of the oxen,
kept the ox,
and of the fatlings and the lambs, and all that was good.
and what the Lord said to destroy. Go ahead.
And would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
That was vile and refuse. They destroyed utterly. Go ahead.
Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me,
He don't listen. Go ahead.
and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night.
To forgive Saul, but he wouldn't. Go ahead.
And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal.
Go ahead.
And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord, I have performed the commandment of the Lord.
So Saul did not.
Wait a minute.
Saul did not perform the commandment of the Lord. He did not do what he was told. He kept one alive, and he kept the animals, the best of the animals alive. The Lord said, kill everyone.
That was the order.
That was the order. Saul, so blind and simple, he said, yeah, do what the Lord said to
The
do.
Lord gonna give him a pass because he saved the best ones, and
Right.
he only killed the bad ones and all that. He figured that that's gonna turn the Most High's wrath from him.
Read verse 14.
And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears?
What's that sound I hear?
So understand what's happening. The orders was kill everything.
Yep.
So Samuel said, wait a minute. He hears it. The hell? That's what's going on.
Yeah.
He said, what? I hear sheep. I'm supposed to hear nothing. That's what he said. I ain't supposed to hear nothing. But you hear it. Y'all got it? Go ahead.
What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in my ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, For the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed.
Go ahead.
Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel?
So now you throwing yourself. When you was not a king, you was insecure, you was unsure of yourself. Now you king, now you throwing yourself.
Got big
You were told not to do this. You were given orders and you broke them. Go ahead.
And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight.
Wait, whoa, stop. What do you call them?
The sinners, the Amalekites.
Because they attacked the Lord's people. So but remember, the infants didn't do that. The sucklings didn't do that. So why are they called sinners? What did they do? Showing you the Lord requires that which is past. He does not forget. Christianity makes you forget and gives you what? Stockholm syndrome.
1 Samuel 15
I'm gonna get to the
and
point. I got more. I'm gonna get to the point.
18.
Yeah,
The Lord sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then did thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil, and did evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites.
Didn't listen. Go ahead. He's making excuses.
Right. He saved the king. Tell me he did it to everything else. Go ahead.
But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal.
Jump down to verse 31.
You hear this? You hear what's going on here?
Yeah.
Lying. He's lying his behind off.
Yeah. Go 31.
He gonna blame it on
31.
Yeah.
So
Y'all didn't see that, right? He lied and said that the people saved it because they wanted to do sacrifice. The Most High is furious right now. Go ahead. Go.
Go 31. We get to the point.
So Samuel turned again after Saul and said, Worship the Lord. And Saul worshiped the Lord.
Go ahead.
Then said Samuel, Bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites.
Samuel said, Bring Agag to me. Bring him to me. Go ahead.
And Agag came unto him delicately.
Agag came to him all with his head down. Yeah, delicately. He saw Samuel. He already knew what was going to happen. Go ahead.
And Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past.
He said, Oh, surely I'm going to survive. I'm going to live. Based on how he saw Samuel. Go ahead.
And Samuel said, As thy sword hath made woman childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal.
You know what Samuel did? He cut him piece to piece. Arms off, legs off,
You got to dramatize it.
Now let's get Job 1-1. Now let's get to it. Job 1-1. I went around.
I like that.
Went around it. Now we're going to jump into it now. Job 1-1. Just cutting the doctrines as we go along. Job 1-1. Job 1-1.
The book of Job, chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil.
So it says, there was a man named Job in the land of Uz. So that right there, they go, see? He dwelt in the land of Uz. Give me Lamentations 4:21. Let's see what they're going to do with this. Lamentations 4:21.
Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21.
Pay attention.
Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom.
Oh, daughter of who?
O daughter of Edom.
Go ahead.
That dwellest in the land of Uz.
See that? They go, see? So Job was an Edomite, because Edomites dwelt in the land of Uz. Okay. Go back to Job 1-1 again. Job 1-1 again.
There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright.
That man was what?
Perfect and upright.
Go ahead.
and one that feared God and eschewed evil.
Give me Malachi 1, please. Malachi 1, verse 4. I want the point.
The book of
Malachi 1, verse 3.
Verse 3. Malachi 1 and 3. And I hated Esau.
And what did he do?
And I hated Esau.
And I hated Esau. Go ahead.
And laid his mountains and his heritage
His heritage means his people, his descendants. Go ahead.
waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
Verse 4.
Whereas Edom saith,
So he's talking about Edom. Esau is Edom, the nation itself. Go ahead.
we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them
What will Edom be called?
the border of wickedness.
You know what border means? It's the beginning or the end of something. The border of wickedness. That nation is the wicked the Bible speaks of. So how in the hell are you going to be upright and perfect in the eyes of the Lord when the Lord said he hates them in Malachi 1 and 4? How? Don't make no type of sense. Read on.
And they shall call them the border of wickedness. And the people,
And the what?
and the people,
No, and the person.
and the people,
No, just one person.
and the people,
Go ahead.
against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
And he hates them forever. The Lord does not do what Esau because he's the devil the Bible speaks of. It's clear cut, and he's the wicked the Bible speaks of.
So the Most High has indignation against the world of Esau.
Right.
That's what that translates into. When you say the people, you mean every last one of them.
Right.
Every last one of them.
But somehow Job got a pass. Now let's get Job 4 and 20 Job 4 and 1. They're gonna use this also.
Job chapter 4, verse 1. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said,
Stop. This is Job's friend. He's called the Temanite. Get Genesis 36 and verse 8. Read through it fast. We're gonna read verse 11.
Genesis 36, verse 8.
Eliphaz the Temanite, right? Eliphaz the Temanite. Temanite.
Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Esau, his name was changed to Edom. Go ahead.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir.
Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Ruel, the son of Basemath, the wife of Esau.
11.
And the sons of Eliphaz
So
were,
Esau's son Eliphaz had who?
were Teman.
Teman. Stop.
Omo-
Teman. So Teman is a group of Edomites. They go, see? Eliphaz the Temanite. He was an Edomite, see? Because he dwelt in the land of Teman. So automatically he's an Edomite. His friend's an Edomite, he's an Edomite. We read earlier the Lord hates them, right? Malachi 1 and 4. Let's get Job again. Job chapter 42 and verse 7 and 8.
Job chapter 42, verse 7 and 8. And it was so that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath.
Verse 8.
Therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept.
Stop. For him will I accept. The Lord said he hates Esau. He does not accept Esau at all. So Job cannot be an Edomite at all. Offering of sacrifices and praying for brothers and the Lord receiving it. That's not a heathen's privilege at all. So he was not an Edomite. You understand? He's of the righteous seed. That's what he was. Because there's no record of his lineage, they go, oh, see, bitch, y'all play games. See, he was an Edomite. No, you're not playing that game with us. Because he dwelt in the land of Uz, and his boy is called the Temanite. Automatically, he's Edom. So let's play that game. Let's say, for argument's sake, that he is Edom. I'm going to deal with that later on. Let's just say I'm wrong. Let's say he is Edom. Because I like to play both sides of the coin. We'll get to that later. Go to Hosea 12 and 12. So because he dwelt in the land of Uz, therefore he's an Edomite. Okay. Really? Hosea 12 and 12. And I thought the possibility of him being a heathen later. Let's see how that works out, if I have the time.
Hosea chapter 12, verse 12. And Jacob fled into the country of Syria.
Like his mother told him to, Padanaram. Remember that? Padanaram, plain of Syria. Go ahead.
And Israel served for a wife.
Same person, served for a wife. He served Laban for the wife.
And for a wife, he kept sheep.
And to get the wife, he kept sheep for Laban. Did it for 20 years. Being extorted and exploited. You understand? By his uncle. Now, read again, one more time.
Verse 12. Hosea 12 and 12. And Jacob fled into the country of Syria.
Stop, that's all I want. Get Deuteronomy 26 and 5. So apparently, based upon that doctrine that Job was Edomite living where he lived, okay, let's explain this then. Deuteronomy 26, verse 5. Let me ask you a question. Was Jacob a Syrian? No. Okay. Deuteronomy 26 and 5.
And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father.
Stop. A Syrian ready to perish was my father. Now, the nation of Israel, the Syrians are not our forefathers. So who's the Syrian here? Jacob. Remember, he fled to Padanaram, the plain of Syria. He was called a Syrian based on where he lived. Like Eliphaz, the Temanite was called the Temanite based on where he lived. It's not a nationality, it's where he lived. Like you're a Bronxite or Brooklynite, an American. That's your land. That's not where you're from. You understand? So, read again. Assyrian.
And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father.
Assyrian, Jacob, ready to perish was my father. Why? Because one, Esau wanted him dead. Then you had when Simeon and Levi killed the Hamites, he was scared then. Then you had the famine where Joseph said, and they came from out of Canaan into Egypt. He was ready to die all the time. He always faced death all the time, Jacob. Esau wanted to kill him. Laban wanted to kill him when he left. His uncle wanted him dead. And you had the famine. You had Esau. So a Syrian ready to perish was my father, Jacob, because he dwelt in Syria. Padanaram. Go ahead.
Ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few.
With the sons.
And became there a nation.
When Joseph put them there. Go ahead.
Great, mighty, and populous.
And we became great, mighty, and huge, a populace. See that? So Jacob was called a Syrian. Was he a Syrian nationality-wise? No, he was a Syrian based on what? Where he lived. Just like Job. Just like his friends.
Can I give you another one?
Yeah.
To back that. Can we go to Acts chapter?
No.
It's going to be in league with what you said. Yes. You got that one?
Yeah, I can get it.
You got it?
I know what it is. It's Acts 22 and verse 25.
From the book of Acts, chapter 22, verse 25. And as they bound him with thongs. Read.
Keep going.
As they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman?
A what?
A Roman.
Paul said he was a Roman. Now, watch this. Give me Acts chapter 21, verse 39.
Acts chapter 21, verse 39. But Paul said, I am a man, which am a Jew.
Which one is he? Is he a Jew or is he a Roman? That's to show you why you got to study the scriptures. It's not always what it says when it's there. He used the nationality of the land when it was convenient for him. Okay, they have Roman laws. Once, just like us, we're American citizens. We travel certain places and they know we're Americans. They can't deal with us the way they deal with the people of the land. So Paul was smart. 1 minute, when they grabbed him again, he's asked to speak to one of the people in charge, and they said, can you speak Greek? Okay, so one minute he was saying he was Roman, the next minute he was saying he was Greek, the next minute he was saying he was a Jew, the next minute he said, I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, so Paul was very crafty on how he maneuvered amongst the people. So don't let these Edomites, they don't know nothing about the scriptures. And they're going to throw things out there based on your lack of understanding of how our forefathers moved. They will call you according to the land where you were born.
Or had citizenship.
Or you have citizenship.
Or had citizenship.
And that's the scriptures that they're using to say, you see, he was white because of where he came from. And that's pure foolishness.
The Negro was born in America. They don't even call him an American. They call him a denizen.
Exactly.
Okay.
Go to 1 Chronicles 29, verse 23. 1 Chronicles 29, verse 23.
1 Chronicles chapter 29 and verse 23. Then Solomon sat on the throne of the Lord as king instead of David his father, and prospered, and all Israel obeyed him.
Watch this. 24 is the key verse.
Verse 24. And all the princes and the mighty men,
All the princes and the mighty men. Listen up. Mighty men.
and all the sons likewise of King David, submitted themselves under Solomon the king.
They submit the mighty men that served David fell under Solomon and served him. Y'all follow? All right. Get 1 Chronicles 11 and 26. 11. 1 Chronicles 11, verse 11. Watch this.
11 verse 11. And this is the number of mighty men whom David had.
That's all I want. Now jump to verse 26. These are David's mighty men. Verse 26 now.
Also the valiant men of the armies were.
Stop. That's all I want. Get 39. Those are mighty men. Let's get to the point. This is mighty men. 39.
Zelek the Ammonite.
Stop. Zelek, what was he called? Zelek the what?
The Ammonite.
Zelek the Ammonite. Jump down to verse 41.
Uriah the Hittite.
That's the one he killed for his wife. Uriah the Hittite. That's a Hamite. Jump down to verse 46.
Eliel.
Jump down to the last name. And Ithma.
Yes. And Ithma the Moabite.
That's odd. David's men, one's called the Moabite, one's called an Ammonite, one's called a Hittite. Give me 2 Chronicles 8 and 7. Let's see what they were. Remember, these men served David, right? Remember that David's mighty men served Solomon? Y'all recall that? One was called an Hittite, one's called an Ammonite, one's called a Moabite, right? 2 Chronicles 8 and 7.
2 Chronicles 8 verse 7. As for all the people that were left of the Hittites,
Here's the real Hittites.
and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which were not of Israel.
These were not of Israel. These are real, true Hamites. Go ahead.
But of their children who were left after them in the land,
Who we did not kill off during Joshua's time and David's time. Go ahead.
whom the children of Israel consumed not,
Go ahead.
them did Solomon make to pay tribute until this day.
They became tributaries unto us. You see that? These are non-Israelites that became tributaries unto us, right? Verse 9.
But of the children
Stop. Be that slower.
but of the children of Israel
But aside from the heathens are the children of Israel. Go ahead.
did Solomon make no servants for his work.
The Hamites he did earlier, he made them servants for his work. Go ahead.
But they were men of war.
The children of Israel were his men of war. The same men of war that served David were children of Israel. The one called the Ammonite, the one called the Moabite, the one called the Hittite. Those were children of Israel. Y'all follow? The same mighty men under David served under who? Solomon. Read again. Verse 9.
But of the children of Israel did Solomon make no servants for his work, but they were men of war, and chief of his captains, and captains of his chariots and horsemen.
10.
And these were the chief of the king Solomon's officers, even 250 that bear rule over the people.
The same men that were under David became men of war, the mighty men, the valiant men under Solomon were children of Israel who were not made servants. You understand that? So David's mighty men became Solomon's mighty men, and they were all Israelites. The Moabite you read about, the Moabite you read about, the Ammonite you read about, the Hittite you read about, those are all Israelites that came from those lands. Remember, we conquered those nations and took parts of those lands and lived there. Like the disciple Simon the Canaanite. He was not a Hamite, he was a Jew. Simon the Canaanite was a Jew that dwelt in the land of Canaan. You understand? Christianity is pure garbage. Once you learn it, after a while it becomes, they're like robots. They all say the same thing. They're trying to evolve, but it's not going to happen. It's all to save massa. That's the tactic.
And that's why they're making us their primary focus now.
Right. Get 2 Samuel 5:11. Because they know that we're the main force against them.
That's right.
That's why they're attacking us so hard.
They say, there's a saying even amongst the other camps, if you cut off the head, everybody else will fall. Right. And that's what they think also.
Christianity is like crack. And the people that are hooked on crack, you read them basic scripture, and they'll see what it's saying, but the crack says, I can't let it go. And they stay with that doggone thing. And with what we teaching, we take the crack out of your hands. And they don't like that thing.
This is rehab.
Right. This is definitely rehab, but they don't want you to be rehabilitated.
Get 2 Samuel 5 and verse 11. So now we dealt with Edom. Now we're going to deal with Tyre. All right? We dealt with Edom earlier. Now we're going to deal with Tyre. 2 Samuel 5:11.
5:11. And Hiram, king of Tyre, said,
this is Hiram, a king of Tyre. All right? Hiram, king of Tyre. Tyre is a city of people known as Sidonians. Sidonians are also referred to as Canaanites. All right? So these are Sidonians, Zidon, Tyre and Zidon. That's their city. All right? Read again.
And Hiram, king of Tyre,
is a Hamite,
sent messengers to David, and cedar trees, and carpenters, and masons, and they built David an house.
So Hiram, the king of Tyre, had resources. He was a builder, and he built David a house. Okay? Now, let's go to 1 Kings 5:1. We're going to read about him some more. King of Tyre. 1 Kings 5:1. Built David a house.
1 Kings 5 verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father.
Room of David, go ahead.
For Hiram was ever a lover of David.
Hiram had much love and respect for David. David was a mighty man, so he respected David. Y'all follow? Hiram is a Hamite that have respect for David. Y'all follow? He's doing the same Hiram that built David a house. Y'all follow? Go to verse 7.
1 Kings 5 verse 7. And it came to pass when Hiram heard the words of Solomon that he rejoiced greatly and said, Blessed be the Lord this day, which have given unto David a wise son over this great people.
This Hamite have much respect for us, as you can see. And for Solomon, go ahead.
And Hiram sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered the things which thou sent to me for, and I will do all thy desire concerning timber of cedar and concerning timber of fir.
Like he did for David, building a house. Go ahead.
My servants shall bring them down from Lebanon unto the sea, and I will convey them, and I will convey them by sea in floats unto the place that thou shalt appoint me.
I'll bring you the resources and you build the temple. Go ahead.
And I will cause them to be discharged there, and thou shalt receive them. And thou shalt accomplish thy desire in giving food for my household.
Go ahead. So I'll give you the resources and you pay me. And I'll take care of my house. Go ahead.
Verse 10. So Hiram gave Solomon cedar trees and fir trees according to all his desire.
Go ahead.
And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food to his household, and 20 measures of pure oil. Thus gave Solomon to Hiram year by year,
to feed his people and his family. Go ahead.
And the Lord gave Solomon wisdom, as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon.
We had an arrangement. There was peace between Hiram the Hamite and Solomon, our forefather, the king. Go ahead.
And they too made a league together.
For resources. Back, it was a business deal. Go ahead.
Verse 13, and King Solomon raised a levy out of all Israel. And the levy was 30,000 men.
Go ahead.
And he sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 a month by courses. A month they were in Lebanon, and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the levy.
To bring the resources back and forth. They had courses. 10,000 will go this month, 20,000 will go that month, back and so on and so forth. So now, that was the business arrangement. Let's get chapter 7, verse 13.
1 Kings 7, verse 13. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre.
King of Tyre, go ahead.
He was the widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali.
So Hiram's mother was Northern Kingdom, but his father wasn't. Go ahead.
He was the widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre,
Go ahead.
a worker in brass, and he was filled with wisdom and understanding, and cunning to work all works in brass. And he came to King Solomon and wrought all his work.
See that? So we had an arrangement with this Hamite king. So you had Israel and Tyre, or the Tyrians, working together, right? You understand? All right. Get Psalms 83. Let's see if that made David feel any different about Tyre when he wrote this. Psalms 83 and verse 2.
Psalms 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
This is prophetic. Go ahead.
They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Enemies of God have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. Go ahead.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
If they shave our history out of our minds. Go ahead.
But they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Let's see who this is.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The ringleaders. Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
Ishmael.
Of Moab.
Chinese.
And the Hagareans.
Africans.
Gabal.
Or Africans.
And Ammon.
Japanese.
And Amalek.
Israelis.
The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre.
With who?
The inhabitants of Tyre.
They was involved in our destruction. David wrote this while he was cool with Hiram. That didn't change anything. He was still the enemy.
Verse 12. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession.
That was their plan, to take the houses of God, southern and northern kingdom, into their possession, to overthrow and destroy us and cut us off from being a nation. So Tyre was in that list. The same nation that Hiram was part of. It changes nothing. Y'all understand? He's still our enemy regardless. That was utilized for his resources. Go to Amos 1 now. Amos 1. Verse 6.
Amos chapter 1, verse 6.
Skim through it.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
Why?
Because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them up to Edom.
The whole captivity is Israel. The Philistines of Gaza delivered us up unto to Edom. Go ahead.
But I will send a fire unto the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof.
I'm going to judge them for that. Go ahead.
And I will cut off the inhabitant from Ashdod, and him that holdeth the scepter from Ascalon.
That's that Philistines. Go ahead.
And I will turn mine hand against Ekron.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And the remnant of the Philistines shall perish, saith the Lord God.
Read on.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus.
Tyrus is Tyre. Same thing. Go ahead.
And for 4. I will not turn away the punishment thereof.
What's their transgression?
Because they delivered up the whole captivity
of Israel.
And remembered not the brotherly covenant.
No, read again. Because they delivered what?
And I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom.
Did the same thing. Sold us to Edom again. Edom again, as always. The ringleader back in Psalms 83. Go ahead.
And remembered not the brotherly covenant.
Between us and Edom. That covenant was broken. Joel 3. Verse 4.
Joel chapter 3 verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
That's the same thing. Tyre and Zidon. The Sidonians dwelt in Tyre. Go ahead.
And all the coasts of Palestine.
Ishmael as Arabs. Go ahead.
Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head.
Their recompense was that because God didn't choose them, he chose us over them. They said, we're going to sell your people into slavery and cut them off from being a nation based on Psalms 83. Go ahead.
Because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
Go ahead.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians.
You read that in Amos 1. Sold unto Edom. Go ahead.
That ye might remove them far from their border.
Go ahead. Verse 7.
Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and I will return your recompense upon your own head.
Verse 8.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah.
Did that happen yet? No, it's prophetic. Go ahead.
And they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off. For the Lord has spoken it.
So we're going to sell Tyre and Zidon, or the Sidonians into slavery, but do that to us, to the Sabians in the kingdom. All right? So recompense is rewarded to them. Lamentations 4 and 21.
Lamentations chapter 4 verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz.
Go ahead.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked.
Your sin shall be revealed. Next verse.
The punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished.
It's complete.
O daughter of Zion.
Meaning it's time for us to be delivered. Go ahead.
He will no more carry thee away into captivity.
He is Edom. Go ahead.
He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins.
So if Job was an Edomite, guess what? I'm going to see him in slavery then. It's just point blank. He wasn't. But if he was, he's going to slavery. Because they still say, well, he was a good Edomite. Well, Hiram was good too. But they're going to slavery also. Based on Joel 3. So all this nonsense about, oh, you have good heathens, they're going in slavery. I don't care how good they were. So if devil's advocate, that's argument's sake, if Job was Edom, him and his kind are going in slavery. Hiram was good to Solomon and David. His kind are going in slavery. It changes nothing. That's why I made my point earlier about if he was Edom. It changes nothing. The scriptures cannot be broken. Go it again, Lamentations again. Lamentations 22. Made a mistake. Thank you again, son.
Lamentations 4 verse 22.
Go ahead.
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity.
That's the Lord. He will no longer carry you into captivity. Go ahead.
He will visit thine iniquity.
He is the Lord. Right. The Lord will visit thine iniquity. Go ahead.
O daughter of Edom.
He's going to visit. He's going to deliver Israel, and he's going to visit Edom's iniquity when they had us in slavery. Y'all understand? They will not go unpunished. Go to Psalms. No, I don't want that one. Go to Obadiah 15. My favorite. This is something that Christianity can never explain. Never. They ask each other, can you break that down? Right. No, I can't.
They won't even read the book of Obadiah. There's just knives and bloodshed all throughout. I can't touch
That's
it.
why I said if Job was Edom, he's finished. That was one good one. All the rest, he's going to slavery regardless. Obadiah 15. But he wasn't, by the way. Obadiah 15.
Obadiah, verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen.
No, upon some.
Upon all the heathen.
Just the bad ones.
Upon all the heathen.
All of them. All of them. Go ahead.
As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee.
As it did to us, will be done to them. Go ahead.
Thy reward shall return up upon thine own head.
Go ahead.
For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain.
Holy mountain is talking about us, Israel. Go ahead.
So shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down.
Judgment. They're going to swallow down judgment. Go ahead.
And they shall be as though they had not been.
They're going to be killed off. That's why he's saying that.
They shall be as though they had not been. Look at us. The way our status is like we were never a nation.
Yep.
That's how they're going to be. That's what the Most High is saying there. They shall be as though they had not been a nation. Because look at us. We're destroyed. We're a nation of people, and we act like a bunch of individuals.
Verse 18? Verse 17.
Verse 17. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
Which is the heathens. Go ahead.
And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them.
Hold it. The verse, what was the verse before that?
Verse 17.
Read 17 again.
But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possession.
And the house of Jacob shall possess all of the nation's possessions. Y'all hear that? Read the next verse.
Verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble.
He said, but the house of Esau for stubble. He didn't put the rest of the nations in that. Yep. You notice the separation? The Most High has a special judgment for Esau. He separated him from the rest of the nations. That's why it says in that dictionary, she is the only neighbor of the Israelites that was not given any promise of mercy from God. This is where they got it from.
Verse 18 again. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it.
It should not be
They
any
can't
remaining.
escape that judgment at all.
None remaining means they're going to be killed off. Not Amalek, all of them. Every last one of them got to go. Why? Because they're the border of wickedness. The beginning and what? The end. They got to go. Go to Obadiah 21. Remember I read earlier about when Esau and Jacob came out the womb. I said he grabbed onto that red hairy heel. Remember that? Obadiah last verse.
Obadiah verse 21. And saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau.
That's the 144,000 to judge the mount of Esau. Read on.
And the kingdom shall be the Lord's.
So once Esau's judged, the kingdom shall be the Lord's. Y'all see that? So once Esau's out the earth, the kingdom will be the Lord's. Now, 2nd Ezra 6-9, yeah. 2nd Ezra 6-9. Like we asked earlier. Who's the wicked? Who the Most High set up as the wicked? 2nd Ezra 6-9.
2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9.
8.
Verse 8. And he said unto me.
Verse 7, sorry, verse 7.
Verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times?
The end of the world.
Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?
The new world that comes, new heaven and earth that comes. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau.
Jacob's hand held first the red hairy heel of Esau. See that? So when Jacob grabbed Esau's heel, it symbolized what? Read the next verse.
Verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of this world. Go ahead.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
And Jacob is the kingdom of the Lord in Obadiah.
There you go.
So therefore Esau is the ruling kingdom on the earth today. Not Japheth is the end of the world. Esau is the end of the world. Get to Jeremiah 30 verse 16. So I'm gonna bring this out as we don't know who Esau is. We don't know who he is. He's some miscellaneous. We don't know. He's like a puff of smoke. We don't know who he is. Okay. Jeremiah 30 verse 16. Well, I'll play that game. I'll play that. 30:16.
Jeremiah 30 verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured.
Did Edom devour us? Yes. Okay, go ahead.
And all thine adversaries.
Is Edom our adversary? Yes. Okay.
Every one of them.
No, some of them.
Every one of them.
Just the bad ones.
Every one of them.
Every one of them.
Not the ones that go to church.
Every one of them. Go ahead.
and all thine adversaries,
And all thine adversaries, like I said in Obadiah,
every
and
one of them,
and in Lamentations. Go ahead.
every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey.
Those who killed you, I'm going to have you kill them. So mercy is extended to them. They have the option of either being killed off or being a slave. That's mercy. See, the Lord's merciful. See? Not too bad. We're not so bad. We get to get to know us. Get slavery or death. We give it the option. We can just give you death.
No,
but if you get slavery, you get golden, might make them gold shackles.
No, they don't get that choice. We gonna do the choosing. We might not want you to die. We might want to make you work.
Yeah. That's the mercy.
Hard.
Second Maccabees, 9 to forever. No overtime. Second Maccabees 6 and 12. No, perpetual overtime. Second Maccabees 6 and 12.
Second Maccabees 6 verse 12. Now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities,
That come against us from the other nations, our adversaries. Go ahead.
but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction,
Most High didn't cause calamities against us for our destruction. Go ahead.
but for a chastening of our nation.
But that's what Esau is. That's why we don't sit around blaming Esau for everything or Ham for everything. These
right.
nations are established for chastening us, for being rebellious. They rule because of us, not because of their own power. They rule because we're rebellious and sinful. So the Lord said, fine, I'll put you into the hand of your enemies. Fend for yourselves then. And here we are now. Go ahead. Until you acknowledge your offense. Go ahead and seek my face. Go ahead.
Verse 13. For it is a token of his great goodness, when wicked doers are not suffered any long time, but forthwith punished.
But eventually they're going to get punished for what they did to us. Because the Lord delivered us into the hands of nations that he knew hated us. Go ahead.
For not as with other nations, whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish.
The Lord is patiently waiting to punish them for their actions against us. Because their actions against us he calls sin. Go ahead.
Till they become to the fullness of their sins.
So the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled, like it says in Luke 21. Go ahead.
So dealeth he with us.
Now, give me the book of...
The time of the Gentiles be fulfilled is departing asunder of the times.
Right. End of the first. Second Ezra 15. 20.
Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 20.
This is going into prophecy regarding World War III. The world in the Middle East and so forth, things that's going to pop off. Is going into that. Go ahead.
Behold, saith God, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south and from the east. And Lebanus.
That's Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Lebanus. That's Lebanon. Go ahead.
Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another,
World War III. Go ahead.
and to repay the things that they have done to them,
And to repay the things that they have done to them. The them is us. Go ahead. He's going to say it.
like as they do yet this day unto my chosen,
In secret. Go ahead.
so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom.
They're going to drink from that cup he spoke about in Obadiah and in Lamentations. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord God, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth.
That's what Esau does. Living by the sword. Shed innocent blood. Whether it be publicly or secretly. He does. Go to chapter 16, 46 to 48. Almost done.
Second Ezra 16, 46 through 48. For strangers shall reap their fruits,
Strangers are heathens that will reap our fruits. Go ahead.
and spoil their goods,
Take our possessions.
overthrow their houses, and take their children captive.
Put our children as slaves.
For in captivity and famine shall they get children.
And that's now.
And they that occupy their merchandise with
The
robbery,
heathens that occupy our merchandise through robbery, spoiling. Go ahead.
the more they deck their cities,
They decorate their cities with our wealth they built on our backs. America, Wall Street.
their
They built-
house,
Go ahead.
their houses, their possessions,
Go on. Read again. The more what?
and that they occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities,
The more they decorate their cities,
their houses,
their own homes. A lot of people have, a lot of these heathens have old money
their
Yeah, go ahead.
possessions, and their own persons.
and have felt on their clothes, their clothing. Go ahead.
The more will I be angry with them for their sin.
Because they earned that on our backs. The Lord is sitting back waiting for us to come on them. He's waiting on you, on us. For the kingdom comes not by observation. Go ahead.
Saith the Lord.
That's all I want. Get me Baruch 425. Almost done. Baruch 425.
Baruch chapter 4, verse 25. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from God.
Goes back to that chastening in Esdras. Suffer the chastening of the Lord. Go ahead.
For thy enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction.
If you cannot acknowledge or accept your enemy's destruction, you have to die. It's just common sense. You got to go. We read earlier in Wisdom of Solomon that the righteous accepted the destruction of their enemies in the time of Egypt. So if you being in Christianity, you're told to not accept that. Accept that the victim and the enemy can be saved together. That's madness. That'll never happen. Read again.
My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from God. For thine enemy has persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and shalt tread upon his neck.
You're going to step on their necks. That's the Bible says. Not hug them, not hold hands. It says we're going to tread on their necks. Jump down to verse 32.
32.
This goes right back to what it said in Esdras. Watch this.
Miserable are the cities which thy children serve.
Because we built them. Go ahead.
Miserable is she that received thy sons.
In captivity. Go ahead.
For as she rejoiced at thy ruin, and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation.
See that? Our enemies, in order for there to be salvation, destruction has to take place. It has to. Go ahead.
For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning.
Go ahead.
For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting.
We're going to get to nuclear fire. Go ahead.
Long to endure.
The Most High is waiting for it.
And she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time.
That's Babylon the Great. Revelations 18 and 2. A habitation of devils. It's saying the same exact thing. All right. Last one. Revelations 13 verse 10.
Oh yeah, you
Gotta
can't
get
leave
that.
that one out.
This goes right along with Jeremiah 30 and 16. You ain't gonna leave that out. So whoever Esau is, he still fits this. Whoever you want him to be, play musical chairs with him all you like. He's gonna fall in here regardless. Revelations 13 and verse 10.
Revelation 13 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Did the white man, who we don't know his nationality is, did he have us in slavery? Yes. We don't know what his nationality is, so I'll just call him white man for you people in Christianity. Did the so-called white man, who we don't know his nationality according to the Bible, did he have us in slavery, yes or no? Yes. Okay, go ahead.
And the most well-documented slavery in the history of mankind.
Right.
If you go back and try to get documentation of the other slaves, there's nothing that has been documented like this. 12 years a slave, Nat Turner.
Yep.
Okay? So you can't exclude yourself from that group. Go ahead.
This is so beautiful.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me read it again. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Read it like you're putting a chain on somebody.
Like you reading a judgment in a courtroom.
Right.
He that leadeth into captivity
Yes.
shall go into captivity.
So the misnomered white man is going in slavery. Whatever you think he is, or whatever you want him to be, or whatever you believe him to be, whether he's Gumby or Barney or Dino, whatever you want him to be, he's going in slavery.
Now watch this.
Yeah, there's more. I'm with the rest.
Okay.
Go ahead.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Did the so-called white man, the misnomered white man, kills with the sword? Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
So our patience, so that's our patience and that's our faith. Seeing who did that, whoever he is,
That's right.
go into slavery and be killed for it.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.